Have you ever been really good at something? Maybe you are really good at something. You've got a skill set. You're an expert. You're a CEO or specialist of a company or in a certain area. Like you're the go-to person. But then you come across someone who's in the same or similar field and they are just hands down better than you. And you're like, how do they do it? I train nonstop and this person's on another level. Imagine this. You're a boxer, you're very good, you're undefeated, but then you get into the ring and here comes a young Mike Tyson. I'm running as fast as I can. Like, I'm not fighting him. What are you, nuts? Now, I don't really fight anyone. It's not my thing. But my point is, we could be a very good boxer, but then a young, hungry Mike Tyson gets into the ring and like, yeah, we know what's going to happen. We're not beating him. So why I bring that up is this year, 2021, I have met people younger and older than me that are at that next level, and they're not just at the next level, they're just levels and levels above me. But the thing that I have really come to appreciate is anytime I talk to anyone in my business, in any business, especially younger than me, humility is such an important thing, and I'll always try to give the time and resources to help them. Like help them get to the next level. No one should ever feel like, oh, I get to talk to you. Like, no. Like I'm a normal human being just like you. And as I've met other people, sometimes I meet people that do very well, but they like to make it known. This year, I've enjoyed from a business standpoint very much because I've met people that have just had high levels of success from a business standpoint, and they're humble about it. I've mentioned in a number of videos this young power couple, which we're going to look at some examples here. I'm going to tell you a story. But I'm very impressed with this couple because they make in what my company does in a year, in a month, their businesses. Like they just are crushing it, but they have a ton of fun working together. I like them, but they're humble. Like they never brag about the money, they have fun, and you can tell they just enjoy it. It's like you're training for something, and man, you're having fun. Like when you hear, if you've ever seen the documentary Pumping Iron or Arnold Schwarzenegger talk at all, where when he was pumping iron, lifting, a lot of the guys he was working out with just hated it. They had to go in there, he's smiling because he's like, I'm getting closer to my goal. That's what these two are like. And I feel like that a lot of times too, because I thoroughly enjoy this. I have fun helping people, showing them how to set up cash value life insurance policies. I'm starting to ramble, so I'm going to get back on track. I met this young couple, they do extremely well. And why I'm so thrilled to meet them is one, they found us via YouTube and they're working with us. So I'm like, this is like great. But the main thing is just in learning from them, working with them, never heard them brag about anything once. They're open about their business, which is great, but they don't brag. And that goes such a long way with me because I really make it a point, like, I don't want to do that. Because when you have someone that brags, like you're not as approachable, there's a ton of stuff that goes into it. But I meet this power couple, they know business, they know numbers, they're very good, but whole life insurance designed for high cash value can be fairly complex to say the least. And we can look at a policy and think we are getting the best deal, the best option, and then find out after the fact we're not. This is where so many people have buyer's remorse, issues come up, lawsuits, all sorts of stuff. So I met with this couple and we did our normal thing. We're very transparent as far as how we went through cash value life insurance. But if you have ever worked with anyone or know anyone who is at that level, very wealthy, maybe they're growing very fast from a financial standpoint, are they going to make decisions on their own? Some of them will. I see it a lot in that $5 to $10 million net worth range, but when you start to get up there, 25, 50 million plus, or you've got a company that's just taken in a ton of revenue, they typically have advisors. And while this power couple is extremely capable of making a decision on their own, they're considering, I remember the first call we had, I'm on with them for 20 minutes and they talk about $5 million per year that they're going to pay into a policy. And I'm like, 5 million, yeah, that's phenomenal. I mean, banks, corporations we work with consider those dollar amounts sometimes. They're looking at it as two individuals. But I mentioned throughout this year, I've met people that have been at that next level, but also very humble about it. They bring in a professional. I get a text message from the husband of this power couple that says, hey, I'd like you to meet our trust attorney. She's very good. She's one of the 3 people I trust with my money. Those 3 people were him, his wife, and his trust attorney. They hired a professional. They have more than just one professional. And I see this to be very consistent with people at that level. They're not going to make big dollar decisions on their own. So how anyone can learn from this is whenever we're making a decision, maybe we don't have the money to hire a professional, and that's okay. We can work with people we know that have an understanding or a better understanding than most on certain products, strategies, services. Like I'll ask them questions all the time about business if I want to look at something because they're business experts. They're much more knowledgeable and advanced than I am at the rate they've studied everything. But they hire a professional. You may know who I'm talking about. I admire her very much. I hired this professional, and I'm fast forwarding the story. We've got podcasts with her. Now, I hired her after we worked with the couple, but when I say hired her, for me personally in my company, but when I first connected with her, she's a professional, works with people that are ultra high net worth, but when you talk to her, you would never know it. Where I talked about that humility earlier, people that are very humble, they do very well, but if you talk to her, you know she's knowledgeable. She's one of the most knowledgeable people I know. But at the same time, she's so down to earth, normal, humble, just talks to you as far as what to do, what not to do. I like her a lot. And she's very good at business. But I'm meeting these people that are at these next levels as far as what do they do with their money, what to do with your money from a business perspective. But in this first call with her, I didn't know her, right? Her or her firm. I looked her up before the call and I saw her video. I'm like, hey, she seems like a nice person. Her firm seems like a lot of law firms. They've got a lot of information here. Seems like a good group. Okay. So I get into the call. She don't know me at all. And she kind of came, the joke at her firm I heard from one of her associates is, like, if you go after her clients, Mama Bear comes out. If she sees that, I'm not saying that in a negative way at all, but she comes to protect them. She didn't know who I was to say, okay, what are you trying to sell my clients life insurance? And the thing is, this professional, this trusted advisor, knew everything about cash value life insurance, where a lot of attorneys and a lot of life insurance professionals don't know everything about life insurance. She did. She knew how policies could run into a modified endowment contract over time if you kept funding them to a certain level. And I'm like, that's impressive. Do you have a life insurance license? I'm asking her these questions after it was kind of, she's firing questions at me a little bit aggressively. She's, I think, testing me out to see how I handle it. But it went well. I mean, I was impressed with her knowledge, just was transparent. The husband, they were on the call too. They said, hey, can we pull up the numbers, just kind of walk through them? And we just were transparent. She asked about the commissions. I'm like, here's how the commissions work. Here's how they work with company A. Here's how they work with company B. Just like all of the videos you see that we've got up on YouTube, the 10 million videos. Transparency. Transparency and convenience is key. So we were transparent, and then we end up developing a relationship with her. Now, I want to refer everyone to her. I have no financial incentive or financial interest, but she knows her stuff. She cares about her clients, so of course I'm going to do that. However I can help those two, I'm going to do the same thing. So, all of our videos on YouTube, not all of them, but most of them always talk about numbers. What were these people looking at? The first call I had with them, and then why they pulled her into the meeting, or not the first meeting, but a second meeting where I've got to connect with her. Here's why. So, young couple, husband and wife, here's what they're considering. $5 million total per year, and we looked at $5 million per year going in for 5 years, and then also 15 years. They want the option to keep pumping money in if they choose to do so. They didn't end up going with this exact strategy, but high cash value life insurance policies. Husband, you see $2.5 million going in for 5 years in this example, a total of 12.5, but they want a total of $5 million going in. That's what they're considering at the time. So we split it in this example. Total, $5 million for 5 years, $25 million over 5 years going into the policy, which for them, they could handle because they've been very smart with their money. They constantly reinvest it into their businesses. They've been saving, like they did everything right. The same thing that anyone would do if you knocked off a 0 or 2 here, or 3 zeros. Like it all comes down to discipline, habits, how we budget our finance, along with how we budget our time when you really look at it at the end of the day. But let's go through the numbers here. So we see the 2.5 going in, year 1, 2.5, cash value, almost 2.4. So that first call with Elizabeth, when they brought her in, what we went through, what she was looking for, she knew what to look for and how a policy should and should not look like, what it should and should not look like right off the bat. If that's a 0, that's a clear red flag. That is just a basic whole life insurance policy. That's 50%, doesn't work. 70%, doesn't work. 90%, okay, that's good if it's a traditional long-term policy. She knew what to look for. Private placement insurance, she has used that heavily in the past. That can have a positive cash value year 1. It's a little different with a variable UL, but still, she knew what to look for. So, where I was impressed with the meeting, as it went well, as she's looking at the numbers and we're going through the commission, she's like, hey, that's high with some products. I'm like, yeah, some of them are. I mean, it kind of is what it is. What our firm does, we always aim to minimize the compensation. And the reason why is not just to minimize our compensation, it's because that directly results in greater consumer value. Like that's our play. Some products spread the commission out, some pay more upfront, and here's how it works. Like that's it. That's what we went through. I'm like, I'm just showing you how it works with my technical and nerdy background. Death benefits are high, and those death benefits for each of them give them a $2.5 million MEC limit. So it's the minimum amount of life insurance, just going through everything transparent. What do we see here? Year 3, 7.5 million in, he's got more than 7.5. Interested for the following reasons: safe, liquid, tax-free. Now I want to be very transparent about something here. We looked at different options. They didn't put 5 million per year in. Right? And I'm not putting this video up to brag or anything like that. I don't like that, or when people do that. They didn't. It was a different number than that. But this was the original amount we're considering. The attorney looked at this, went through everything properly, and we went through this model. This actually times, 8, as we looked at so many different products and such. As I often express, we start very broad with our process and then begin to narrow things down. This way, people see all of the options up front. These are high upfront cash value products that do not look as attractive long-term. We also looked at strong long-term policies. They're interested, frankly, in the upfront cash value. They look at it as a direct comparison. They say, hey, more long-term is great and all, but it's the opportunity cost. Seeing that up front, if I want to use it for whatever reason, I don't need to. Like they didn't need it, but if we want to, like that's how I've grown my money. It's always been my habit, always been my process. That's the option I'm attracted to. And that is so, so valuable to hear for everyone if you're considering a high cash value life insurance policy. Because often what I see so much is, hey, you always want to look at the long term. So take less up front so you can have more money long term. It's like, no, it's whatever works for you and your situation. We've got a million videos that analyze how to maximize the short-term and long-term performance, but what are you trying to accomplish? How do you want to use your policy? What's the best overall option? That's the kind of stuff you want to go through. And then you see the different options and you can pick based on your recommendation to yourself. Yes, take the recommendation from your agent, advisors, others, but what do you know is going to be best for you based on company flexibility, all that good stuff. It's the same process. If there's 2.5, 250,000, 25,000 per year, or $2,500 per year, $200 per month, doesn't matter. We're going to treat them all the same. So there's the funding. So let's look at the combined values here. Year 3, 15 in cash. Combined death benefit. Talk about estate and legacy planning, right? Because they're so young. He was early 30s, she's late 20s. Doesn't pay anything in, they can. They definitely should. if they've got the means to, because it'll continue to grow everything. But we minimize the death benefit in this example. And look, the combined amounts when they're in their 40s and 50s are still 150 million plus. And it just keeps growing. And that's only putting in 5 for 5 years in this example, which is a lot. I mean, don't get me wrong, but my point is a 5-year fund. So my point to this video, I always like going through the numbers, and I do enjoy people I meet, but my point was really this year, meeting people like that, and really it's a humbling experience from a business standpoint, but what I like the most is they're just like everyone else. Like, I can talk to them in the exact same manner I would talk to anyone else, and you don't get any kind of pushback or anything like that. It's a good example, right? You never want to let money or anything, or money, success, business get to your head. Happens to some people. Sometimes we don't know it. Sometimes we're aware of it and we can correct, which is really good. But we don't want to let that happen because it can just ruin you in so many ways. And when you find people that have the success, but it hasn't ruined them, that's a great example, right? I love talking to people like that. I love talking to anyone. Like, they don't have to have a ton of money, but I'm talking a lot now. So I hope you enjoyed this as far as seeing what the wealthy do with high cash value life insurance, as far as some numbers, learning about other people and such. If you enjoyed, please hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, and I'll talk to you soon. Thanks so much. Hey guys, Steve Parisi here. If you enjoyed the content you just saw, please subscribe, like, and hit the notification bell for future videos. If you'd like more information or to see some custom policies for yourself, feel free to call or email our offices at the contact information below.